friends, I am Dr. Sona Kaushal Gupta. I am a neuropsychologist and I am the CBSE counselor, and I will be taking up my session today, Save Your Children. So in this series of Save Your Children, my topic today is Save Your Children from Depression. It's a very important topic, parents, friends. Please call your other friends and your other parents so that they can come and join and listen to it and share their views and comments. I have received some mails. I'll be answering them to you. In the meantime, you all can write your comments in the chat box and we'll discuss about it later. One of the mails I received was from Sudha, and she said that she has a child and who's the only child, and the child feels very depressed because he's an only child, so he's very alone. So is it important that we should have more than 2 children so that they are happy together? There's no hard and fast rule for this, Sudha. But we always say that psychologically, if you have siblings, you can learn to share and care. But now you can learn to share and care with your cousins also. So you have to keep the demography of your house, the statistics of your house in your mind, and you have to decide for yourself. But with siblings, there is a lot of love, affection, compassion, and there's a lot of sharing and caring. And later on in life also, there's a lot of security added to that. So we always suggest that yes, 2 is always better than 1. But then it ultimately depends on the what the equation is at in your house and whether you're capable of supporting 2 or supporting 1 child, etc. Friends, before I started this session, I was on the CBSE telecounseling helpline. And just when I was about to get up and get ready for my session here, I received a frantic call from one of the students who said that, ma'am, my exams are there, 12th exams are there, and I'm just going to go and commit suicide. I'm suicidal, I'm committing suicide. I was shocked because that's an emergency. When a child is saying that they are suicidal and they're going to die, it's an emergency. So I asked her what the reason was, and she said that she didn't like her subjects. She was forced to take science, and her parents also and her teachers also, they keep on telling her that no, 80% is very bad and 90% has to be achieved. And she's saying, I just cannot take it anymore, and I'm not able to cope up with the pressure of the studies and the academics. So I want to end my life, and I've attempted to end my life once or twice before also. I've not been very successful. I'm doing it again, and I'm telling you. It was a massive task, friends, for me to, talk to her and to make her understand and to, and this is the thing which is required in counseling, that at that point of time, I had to make her think of something else so that we could avoid her from taking such a drastic step. In the meantime, I contacted her parents. Somehow I managed to take the number of her parents, and I contacted her parents and I told them to come back home immediately and to take the remedial measures and to take a doctor's help immediately, because if a child is suicidal, it's an emergency. So friends, today depression is an epidemic. It has taken up an epidemic form, and even the World Mental Health Day had said depression, let's talk, the last year, and stress at workplace this year. So depression is an epidemic. It's everywhere, all over the place, in every house, in every family. Now, why I'm talking of depression and adults, of course, is something, and it's a big chapter. So today I just want to tell you that these are awareness talks in which I want to bring to your knowledge that yes, this is happening and you can do things to make it better. So this is an awareness talk. So please share this video and mail me your queries, and share this Save Your Children series and tell me your inputs and tell me what else can I take up of interest to you. Right, and it's on the 1st and 3rd Sundays every month at 9 p.m. So please stay tuned to that. So depression in adults, of course, is a sense of hopelessness, helplessness, worthlessness. He's feeling no good, and he is not able to do his normal activities which he was doing. And it has to continue. The DSM-5 classification and the APA has stated depression and its clinical, details, and it's a diagnosis which the doctor has to make. So depression in adults is there, of course, and an issue will be taking up sometime later. Today we're taking up depression in children. It was something unheard of when we were small. So depression in children, I've taken it up because not many children are in stress and depression nowadays. And mainly it is 12 to 18 years of group which comes to our knowledge and who come to us for help. Younger ones are there, of course, also, but 12 to 18 is the main group which we are targeting. what is happening, parents, that a child, the children in depression, a child's depression is different from an adult's depression, in the sense that, of course, there is helplessness, hopelessness, worthlessness, and a feeling of, feeling of as if he is not capable of doing anything. And there's a loss of appetite, loss of sleep, or too much of it. Then no concentration, no memory, no interest in his school activities, no interest in his daily activities, and he has no friends, social isolation, he has bouts of crying. All this are there. Added to this is a lot of irritation, anger, and he's very frustrated, and he'll snap at you. And there's a heightened sense of rejection. Like if somebody tells him something which he doesn't like, immediately he'll react. So there's a heightened sense of rejection, and there's isolation, and there's very much of anger, and he is, he keeps on crying, and is cut off from everyone, and he's not enjoying the normal activities in school which children usually enjoy. Nothing, no lunch breaks, no play in the school, no social activities, the same thing at home. The normal games, play he's doing, he doesn't take parts. He's sitting quietly, he's cut off, he's away from home, he's immersed in his own thoughts, he's listless, fatigued, burnt out. So that is a very sorry picture. And the parents have to be aware, and they have to take care. Added to that is suicidal thoughts and images, suicidal thoughts and thoughts of death. The way that girl rang up, that is the ultimate. But he feels that it's better to give up his life than for anything else. There's nothing else left for him to do. So then, and what are the signs of suicide in a child? Signs of suicide are the ones which I've just enumerated. Added to that, he talks of dying. He talks of committing suicide. He says, I don't want to live. He says, life has no meaning for me. He says that he may take to drugs and addictions. In addition to that, he may he takes to risky behavior, lot of rash driving, lot of risky behaviors, and he may end up landing up into a lot of accidents. So it's something you have to be careful about. If a child is depressed, and it's a chronic depression, it's going on very long, and he talks of death and all, be careful. And it has been said that if a child says, or if anyone for that matter says that they want to die and life is not worth living, they do attempt it. And somebody who has attempted it before is double at risk of attempting it again. So children are depressed, it's becoming younger and younger now. The younger they are getting, who are getting depressed now. So it's something to be concerned about. Why is this happening in the society today, when so much of wealth and so much of everything is there for everyone? Everyone has mobiles, everyone has internets, everyone has, movies to see and multiplexes to go to, and still there is depression. All this was not there before, and there was less depression. So why? This is what we want to talk to, and what are we to do about this? So something very important, right? So other than so the importance why I'm taking up children is they are your actual precious. They are your precious, what shall I say? They are precious. They are so precious to you. They are everything to you. You're earning your living because of your children. And if your child is depressed, what's the use of earning money and giving him iPhones and laptops and Mercedes, and he's in depression? You have to look, or he's taking drugs, or he's in stress. You have to look into it. We just talked about this just now. And another important thing is that childhood depression, if it is there, and if it is not diagnosed, and if it is not taken up early, then it may and it does lead to, major psychiatric problems later on, like schizophrenia or bipolars. So you have to be careful and diagnose it early, recognize it and diagnose it early, treat it, so that the child does not get into worse conditions later on. And the very important thing is the stigma attached to it. Now, the stigma attached to it is so bad that people think it's a shame to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist for or a mental health or person for treatment, because they feel that it's what will the world say? Like one of my friends, one of my friends says, "Log kya kahenge?" Brigadier Sushil. So, log kya kahenge? He has this thing. Let me tell you, friends, mental health disorders are as common and they are as treatable as physical health disorders. So you have to, take your, you have to be aware, you go to the doctor and take treatment for it. And if you find somebody next door to you having this problem, give him also help, because this is as common as physical and as important and more, because good mental health leads to good physical health. And mental health is something which has to be taught to the children today. Good mental health, it has not been taught to the children because we haven't learned about it. So let's say stay tuned to this. Now we come, I've just told you what are the signs of depression in children, and I've told you why I've taken up this chapter and why topic and why it is so important. Now, other than that, let me tell you how will you diagnose depression. Now, friends, sadness is grief. You feel sad. You feel sad at times. It just comes on. So sadness and grief is different from depression, right? What is the difference? Sadness is not depression, and sadness is a very common emotion. You see a movie, you start crying, you feel sad. There is some emotion in the house, some confusion in the house, you feel sad. Your dog dies, you feel sad. There's a death in the house, you feel sad. That is sadness. So that is for a shorter period, right? And it always has a reason behind it, that this happened, so there is sadness. So, but depression does not usually mainly have any reason behind it, and it is there. And it is for a longer duration, more than 2 weeks, and the doctor has to diagnose it, because there are certain criteria, the major and the minor criteria, where we diagnose the depressive states. So you don't have to diagnose it, but the symptoms you have to recognize what I've just told you. Let me also tell you, friends, that once the doctor has described it according to the classification and some major depression, and he tells you the causes of this depression, we say that they are physical. It's something to do with your body. They are outside, the stressors, the conflicts, the family, the conflicts in the house, the jobs, the stress. These stresses are leading you to stress, and stress is another cause of depression. So all this, pressures and conflicts and relationship problems and addictions, another very big cause. Many drugs are leading, and alcohol also is a depressive. It may stimulate you in the beginning, but later on it leads to a lot of depression. So a lot of drugs are depressive. So drug addictions and all these things are the causes. But the main reason behind all of them is a biological change in the brain. So hormonal change in the brain due to some neurotransmitter deficiencies and all. So that biological change is there, which has to be set right by various treatment modalities, which we'll be talking about. So keep that in mind. Now, what I want to tell you is that once you recognize that no, more than 2 weeks and my child is very listless and hopeless and worthless, he has no enthusiasm left, and I should go to a doctor. So go to a doctor. Don't feel ashamed. It's as if he's having a headache. And there's a lot of psychosomatic diseases associated with this also. They'll have a lot of headaches and tummy aches and all those things won't be treated by any medicines. So recurrent physical illness also is depression. So once you know it is, go to a doctor, get it diagnosed. Now the diagnosis and the treatment of it is very, very important. Depression is treatable. So this is very good news, and it's very common. So the treatment of depression is, of course, the main treatment that we are focused for. And for children, I always say it's psychotherapy and counseling. Medications are not needed for children. I feel most of them improve. But of course, if it is something, because depression is mild, moderate, severe again. So if medications are needed, that is the third step. The first is psychotherapy, counseling. Go to a psychotherapist, go to a counselor, and that counselor will analyze the reason behind the depression, and he'll tell you ways to counter it, and he'll empower the family, he'll empower the parents, and he'll empower the child also with coping strategies, how to deal with the depression and get better. So the thing is, the main therapy which I normally take to is cognitive behavior therapy. It's very good. So cognitive behavior therapy is dealing with the cognitions, the thought system, the feelings and the thoughts that the person is having. So we try to make him recognize them and try to change them into feeling good, from feeling bad to feeling good, from negativity to positivity. We take him through his thoughts and feelings and emotions. So cognitions are there. Other than cognitions, there is a lot of behavior therapy which goes into cognitive behavior therapy, and that is, skill trainings, interpersonal relationship trainings, how to make a family life more happy, how to be, how to resolve conflicts in the office or in the school or at home. And of course, assertive skills. A child has to be taught that, and so do the parents, how to be assertive. It's a very important topic, assertiveness. I'll be taking it up soon in one of my Save Your Children series. So how a child is taught to be assertive is to say his things, learn to say no without being angry, right? To put forward his views without being angry. So that, and of course, a lot of physiology also goes into cognitive behavior therapy. We give him a lot of, relaxation exercises and meditation techniques and yoga and things like that. So all thing holistic is cognitive behavior, which is very good. So go to a counselor and go for cognitive behavior, and they will deal with it accordingly. Other than that, other than therapy, of course, there is a family therapy. Now, let me tell you, when the child comes with depression, the child, of course, depending on his age, has to be counseled and spoken to. But the first session, as I always say, is always the parents. The parents are the main crux of the family and what the child is going through. So family therapy, in which we talk to the parents and we empower the parents with good skills, and we empower the parents how to recognize the symptoms in their children. And this is an empowering session, of course, for parents. And after recognizing, how to deal effectively with the child who is depressed, how to talk to him, how to interact to him, how to empower him to feel better. This is what we teach the parents, and they should learn this also. And then, of course, the third is family therapy, cognitive behavior therapy of the child and of the parents. And of course, then medications if it is required, and there are very good medicines available for depression, so go for them without any fear or fright. Now, what I want to bring to your notice is my awareness today is mainly with parents, that why are you so important in your child's life, right? Because if you as a parent, if you're very overprotective with your child, if you're very overprotective with your child, or if you're overindulgent with your child, or if if you're very critical with your child, if you're criticizing him, or if you're saving him from everything, or keeping him away, or very protective, or very rude to your child, or if you're in conflict in the house with other people and you're angry all the time, and as a role model you yourself are depressed. Because let me add to it that one of the causes of depression, of course, other than the ones I told you, is genetic also. So if there is depression in the family, it does pass on to the children. So if you're depressed yourself, and if there is what shall I say, you're not clear about how to talk and you're screaming at him and you're very critical of him, that will lead your child to depression. It is going to lead to your depression. So you have to empower yourself with good parenting skills. And parenting is an ongoing process. You have to keep improvising your skills and improving yourself. So attend workshops. So what should you be then? Right? That is what you should not be. So what should you be? So be very caring. Be very loving. Unconditional love. Like I always say, tell him that we are with you. And your problems, these are the solutions. And of course, other than that, you have to stop criticizing him. And you have to set very clear goals and guides and clear guidelines and limits in your house. You have to talk to the children and very open with them. And you have to tell them that this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing, where to draw the line. So if you keep on talking and communicating to the child, you don't have to blame the child for anything. You don't have to blame the child for your own problems or the circumstances in your house. Or you don't have to be a VP and a parent who's always telling him about the sad things or how much he's sacrificed for the house. So praise your child. Praise him for what he's accomplishing. Rather than telling him don't do this, tell him what he should be doing. And then praise him and appreciate him for that. Be a stress-free, happy parent, and you'll have stress-free, happy children. And of course, other than that, you have to, help him out with his day-to-day problems, problem-solving techniques. Teach him that. Be flexible. Don't be very rigid, right? And when if he's in stress and if he's in problems, then don't be very, don't be very this thing with your expectations that this should happen, this many marks, study this much, sleep this much, do this. So overprotection, over involvement, emotional involvement, over involvement with the child, not letting him grow up. Let him make his mistakes and let him learn from the consequences, and don't punish him or scold him. Be with him. So these are the roles of the parents. And so if you are such a parent, or if you have not been such a parent, then try to be one, because we are all trying to be that. We are all trying to improve ourselves as parents, and what you be, your child will learn from you. So learn these skills, and of course move on in life. And if you find that there is some problem in your child, and he, another thing which is leading into depression I've seen is low self-esteem, right? So if a child has been told, and I'm writing a book on parenting which is called Parenting a Challenge, and I've just posted it on Facebook today, that I've written in that if right from the beginning you're telling a child that you're bad or you're no good, and that is depleting him of his self-esteem. So the child is growing up with that picture when he's an adult. So as an adult also he feel he's no good. So give him the right input right from the beginning, that you're very good, you're excellent. This is the problem, this is the solution. So parents, be with your child, recognize if he has a problem, recognize the symptoms of depression if I just told you, go for therapy, go for treatment, and be happy parents, happy parenting. And after this session, I'll be taking up my session in Hindi consequently, because a lot of people ask me problems. They say, ma'am, we want it in Hindi. So immediately after this, it will be in Hindi. So you can stay tuned. Please share this video, friends. And please join me for my ongoing series of Save Your Children. I hope you liked it. I hope it brought some awareness. If you have further queries, you can email to me. I'll write my email ID here. I'll be answering your comments here if there are any queries. Thank you, friends. Thank you for joining me. Good night.